The Problem of Duality, Matter and Spirit as Aspects, by J Van Der Leeuw, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. The Problem of Duality, Matter and Spirit as Aspects. Unity has been sought by looking upon the two, matter and spirit, or life and form, as opposite aspects of one neutral reality, neither spirit nor matter. As the two poles of a magnet, the one positive and the other negative, so are the two eternally opposed aspects of the one supreme reality. This view appeals to us instinctively, because in our daily experience so many things show this same duality of opposites, manifesting as male and female, positive and negative, action and reaction, attraction and repulsion. Whether our response to such an appeal is philosophically justified, we shall see presently. For the moment, our aim is but to present this approach to the mystery of duality, which considers spirit and matter as opposite aspects of supreme reality. It is this doctrine which in Hindu philosophy we find represented by the Sankhya philosophy, and which permeates the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Thus, in its 13th discourse we read of the beginningless supreme eternal, called neither being nor non-being, and a little further on it is said, it is this doctrine which in Hindu philosophy we find represented by the Sankhya philosophy, and which permeates the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Thus, in its 13th discourse we read of the beginningless supreme eternal, called neither being nor non-being, and a little further it is said, know thou that matter, Prakriti, and spirit, Purusha, are both without beginning, and know thou also that modifications and qualities are all matter born. Matter is called the cause of the generation of causes and effects. Spirit is called the cause of the enjoyment of pleasure and pain. End of quote. Here it is possible for spirit to influence matter, or matter to affect spirit, because they are aspects of one reality. They have an essence in common, and through that which they have in common, the one can influence the other. In this latter view, which we find also in theosophical literature, such as Bhagwan Dasa's book The Science of Peace, and Dr. Besant's introduction to the Science of Peace, here self and not self are the terms given to the ultimate realities. There is an abstract universal self and an abstract universal not self, the Pratyagatma and the Mula Prakriti. Thus, in Dr. Besant's book A Study in Consciousness, we read, all is separable into I and not I, the self and the not self. Every separate thing is summed up under one or other of the headings, self or not self. There is nothing which cannot be placed under one of them. Self is life, consciousness, not self is matter, form. End of quote. And also from A Study in Consciousness, we think of a separate something we call consciousness, and ask how it works on another separate something we call matter. There are no such two separate somethings, but only two drawn apart but in separate aspects of that which, without both, is unmanifest, which cannot manifest in the one or the other alone, as is equally in both. There are no fronts without backs, no aboves without belows, no outsides without insides, no spirit without matter. They affect each other because inseparable parts of a unity, manifesting as a duality in space and time. End of quote. In this view, something belongs either to the universal self or the universal not self. The universal self and universal not self form two real divisions to one or other of which all created things belong. This solution of the problem of duality again appears in many different forms and interpretations. Of these, the one expressed in the Bhagavad Gita and the Science of Peace is philosophically and ethically the most valuable. Where the deeper interpretation such as we find in those works is lacking, The third view degenerates into a superficial theory of two eternal aspects, spirit and matter, which in man are eternally manifest as the animal, the body on one side, and the spirit, the mind, on the other. It is clear that in such a misunderstood duality of aspects, man's mode of life must be one which strikes a happy medium between spirit and matter, a compromise between the God within and the beast without. In this superficial interpretation, the duality of aspects is looked upon as unchanging, whereas in the Theosophical interpretation quoted above, the two aspects are seen in the supreme reality of the creative rhythm in which there is a return of spirit or self to itself, a conquest of body by mind, a very much superior ethical result from that which we find in the superficial interpretation. However that may be, in some form or other, whether as parallelism, pre-established harmony, or duality of aspects, this approach to the problem of duality appears in a multitude of doctrines and philosophical theories.